Hey guys, what's up? It's Lainey and today is the start of a reading vlog, which I haven't done in a while. This whole weekend is Smutathon, which is, if you don't know, an adult romance readathon that I host with Riley. It is Thursday, it starts at midnight tonight, and I decided that I'm starting early. I can't even lie, I already read the group book. I started it at the end of towards the end of my work shift today. Started listening to it, then I was listening to it while I was cooking dinner tonight, so I already finished it. So Tangled Vows is now checked off the list. I wanted to make sure I made that a priority and I read it because it is the group book. And why would you have a group book and as the host not read it? So I read it. I rated it 3 out of 5 stars. I really did enjoy it. There was I wanted more from it, if that's possible. I really liked the BDSM aspect of it, which I think is what I was kind of craving, and I'm glad it delivered on that. But I wanted more of the fake dating to be just a little bit more up there, and I didn't think it was because they only went in public a few times. The sex scenes were 5 out of 5, but I just wish the story met that, so that's why I rated it 3 out of 5. We are now on to spinning the wheel. I have my TBR list here. I've been doing really good about not switching around my TBR from what I said in my TBR video, but I had 6 credits from Audible that I had to use because I wanted to cancel my subscription since I don't really use Audible very much. So I had 6 to kind of get rid of. I ended up getting this book that I'm really wanting to read. Someone in the reviews called it Dothraki in space, and you guys know I have an addiction to alien smut books, so I felt like I needed to kind of wiggle that one in somehow. It's Captive of the Horde King, which just sounds extremely problematic, but you guys know here at my channel, I like a lot of problematic romances and I won't lie about it. We talk too much. I'm going to spin the wheel. So my plan is to kind of be reading one audiobook and one ebook at the same time. Mostly because I play 2 games on my phone and they have limited lives, so I'm going to be playing those games while I'm listening to the audiobook, and then when I run out of lives I'm just gonna start reading the ebook. So let's do the first one. I'm so excited. Okay, let's push that in a little bit more. I think that's good. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the first one I spun was An Author You Love. For that one, I have, it's the Katie Rapper book. What's it called? Sacrifice, which is a vampire polyamorous book. So, really excited for that. I have it on my Kindle. I did recently look up to see if there were audiobooks of this book, and there's not. But I wonder how many pages this is. Let me look up real quick. It is 160 pages. Let's see, let's hope that the next spin that I do, I have an audiobook for it. Okay, so this one, Enemies to Lovers. I can use that alien smut book for this one because I just looked at the book on Goodreads to kind of see what people were tagging it and shelving it under, and a lot of people have shelved it under Enemies to Lovers. So basically, I don't know if the girl is human or just another species, but apparently her brother does something that causes war in their lands, and instead of this horde, which is what they're called, desecrating the town, the sister, she offers herself up to the Horde King, and that's all I know about the plot. So I'm gonna start with that book, and in a little bit I'll switch to Sacrifice. I'm gonna read so much in the next 4 days, 3 days. Yeah, I'm starting early. Okay, so it does feel like I've been reading for 5 hours, and it's only been 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 hours I've been reading. So I'm about halfway through, what's it called? Captive of the Horde King. And I am highly enjoying myself. Yeah, so it is pretty much what I was saying. Like, so her brother does this like grave sin of desecrating land, which is like the ultimate sin to these, see, I already forget what they're called. I just want to call them Dothraki. But so they come and they're like, so you're gonna die. So then Luna, who's the main character, she's like, I will be your war prize if you leave my brother alone. So the king ends up taking her, and they have this like really good chemistry and really good banter in the beginning. Obviously, I'm halfway through. They've definitely had sex, but it took a while for them to get there. Do I know why there's human settlements on this planet? No. Do I know even like if she knows what Earth is, or has she been to Earth before? I don't know that either, but I don't really care. I don't read this stuff for the world building, let's just put it that way. Like all good alien smut books, there's always some interesting characteristics of the aliens that I have to mention. These ones have tails, which is kind of like, I don't know, this is like a weird, how do I say, like, tails are like my favorite non-human kink, I guess. I don't like wings. That's something I don't like, but I do like tails. They also like look human, but they're just super tan, I guess. I don't know. I'm basically picturing Khal Drogo, no shame. I guess the whole alien species are just bigger than a normal human. Like Ice Planet Barbarians, if you guys have read that, the spur, they basically have a spur, which is like this thing above the peen that does stuff, I guess. Also interesting is that they have golden tattoos on their penises, which I think is really weird. It took me like a lot to tear myself away from this to like give an update. Now she's like trying to like assimilate into this like culture and kind of learn about it as we're learning about it, which I am really liking. There's like a lot of alien language in this book, which sounds suspiciously like Dothraki, I'm not gonna lie. She's like the queen, right? Because she thinks that he's taken her to be like part of like the concubine or something, and he's like, nah, you're gonna be my queen, which is like honestly best case scenario if you got kidnapped by an alien, in my opinion. But damn, it's because I'm not reading it, I'm listening to it. I'm already forgetting the alien terms, but it sound like the queen is like, what is it called? It's like Marisi or something? Fuck, I forget. But yeah, the way that they say queen is very suspicious, like Khaleesi. But now I'm gonna take a break from this because I left off, honestly, probably at a good part where I'd want to keep reading, but I want to switch to the Kindle book, which is Sacrifice by Katie Robert. And I got a Kindle Paperwhite because I have no self-control when it comes to good deals. And I got this because I'm a KU subscriber. They're like, hey, do you want to get our Paperwhite for 60 bucks when it's originally like $130? So I was like, yes, I do. I've always wanted a Kindle Paperwhite because it reminds me of like the very first Kindle that they ever put out, which is one that I had. I really liked it. I do like my Fire tablet, obviously, but I just like the screen better on like my oldest Kindle, and that's why I was so interested in the Paperwhite, because I wanted that basically. So did I really look into see like what features this had? Absolutely not. I mean, my stepdad is obviously my stepdad, but I have inherited his need to just buy something without like investigating it very much. And we call it frenzy buying in my family, and I definitely frenzy bought this Kindle. I wanted something like a cute small e-reader with this kind of screen. I should read to see what all this thing does because I don't know what it does. I'm gonna start reading Sacrifice on this. Also because I don't think my Fire tablet is charged right now. So let's cross our fingers and hope this is charged. I like it. I like how small it is. It's like a little mass market paperback kind of. Damn, it's 12:23. I thought, oh, I'm making it just before midnight, but I've read 6 chapters of The Sacrifice, so I'm on chapter 7 here, and that's where I decided to stop for the night. Sacrifice is really good so far. I really like vampires, obviously, so I love how authors incorporate their kind of lore with existing vampire lore. I'll run through this one really quickly, but it's basically this girl named Mina. She's a Dhampir, which is a half human, half vampire. Her father, who's like, oh, probably like the Voldemort of vampires, he has kept her around, even though she possesses no magical abilities, he keeps her around for a specific reason, to eventually send her to this vampire who, for some vampire politics reasons, needs like a sacrifice. Yeah, so he's kind of important, even though he's kind of been, I feel like he's in exile, but I don't know yet. So she's kind of sent to him to basically be his blood bank, but also to like mother his children eventually. And I usually don't like books that have like that aspect, but here I am reading alien smut, which is always the end goal, is to get pregnant in that book. But one of her content warnings did say breeding, which just, when you're not talking about animals, I hate that word for like humans. It just makes me feel gross. But honestly, it's Katie Robert, so I trust her to take me on this journey. In typical Katie Robert fashion, the first chapter, it's like right off the bat, she did not come to play. I really like the vampire. The vampire's name is Malachi, and I dig him. He's kind of funny in like a vampire sense, I guess. I just love vampires and how they can like creep up on you. It just adds to a lot of really good tension. I'm reading 2 great books right now, and I'm going to sleep. I know I'm tired, but I'm gonna be laying in bed thinking about both these books before I actually fall asleep. So I stayed up way too late last night. The clip where I said like, oh, I'm going to sleep, I went back to my room, I couldn't fall asleep, so I'm like, let me just read one more chapter of Sacrifice. And then, since it is a polyamorous vampire book, the second guy showed up, and I'm like, well, I can't go to sleep now. And the way she describes like him physically just like reminds me of Spike from Buffy. So I was like, okay, here I go. And then 3 chapters later, at 1:45 in the morning, I'm like, I gotta go to sleep. And I woke up exhausted and tired. Then I was like, you know what? It's Friday. I'm gonna go get McDonald's breakfast and continue listening to Captive of the Horde King. This is like a really high up there alien romance, I guess, for me, because I read a lot of alien smut. And I don't know if this one beats Ruby Dixon, because like I really like Ruby Dixon because she's like the first like smutty alien romances that I started reading. So I ended up looking up Zoe Draven on Amazon, and she is gonna keep me well fed into 2021 with all the alien smut books she has, because I had no idea. This series has 3 from the series I'm reading. I'm reading this one right now. No, I'm reading this one right now. And then the next one is Claimed by the Horde King, and the next one is Madness of the Horde King. We all know I love insane characters. I was reading the description of Madness of the Horde King, and he's like the most insane of the Horde Kings, because there are 6 Horde Kings on this fictional planet of Dakar that protect, like, I don't know, the Mega King. To say I'm really excited to get to that one is an understatement. The only thing I'm nervous about is that the synopsises all kind of sound very similar in plot, so I just hope that she switches it up a little bit, and at least like the relationships. She also has like all these other alien romances. The Alien Prize, Alien Seduction, so I'm just hoping that Wicked, I mean, they're very chesty covers, I'm not gonna lie, and they're like trying to do something with the texture here, that they're scaly, I don't know. But these ones are blue, but I'm used to that because of Ruby Dixon. I think I found a new good alien smut author, so if you guys are looking for another alien smut author, check out Zoe Draven. I didn't realize this until I started listening to it, that this audiobook is 9 hours long. How far am I in it? 6 hours and 12 minutes into a 9-hour and 49-minute book, and I'm 50% through Sacrifice, so today is turning out really good. I don't know if you guys like this, but halfway through a book I can usually guess what I'm gonna rate it, and both this alien smut book and Sacrifice are both sitting at 5 stars for me right now. So I mentioned this last night with like how like the aliens have something above their peens. So she mentioned like it vibrating last night, but I thought that was just like a description of like how she felt. I don't know. But no, she mentioned it again, how it straight up vibrates. I just finished Claimed by the Horde King, and I think I'm gonna rate it a 5 star. Like, I know it's like alien smut, but it was good. I liked it. So I'm about to go choose, spin the wheel and see where I land. However, when I was finishing up Captive of the Horde King, well, you guys know how like Audible works when it like shows like the other author's works. Let me see what the premise is of her other alien smut book, or at least one of the other alien smut books. And I was reading it and I'm like, okay, probably will read this too because it sounds good. It's also a companion series and there's 6 books in the series. And number 6, what? I never really see books with my name in it, and if I do, it's never spelled the exact same way as mine. So color me intrigued, but it seems like she's really gonna make me read 5 books before I get to me. Okay, here we go. Let's see what I get. So more alien smut is on the menu. It wasn't an audiobook, which was what I was kind of hoping for, but since I'm so close to finishing Sacrifice, I might just do that and then spin again. But I got Forced Proximity, which was the other alien smut book that I had on my TBR, The Mad Lieutenant by Kay Webster and Nicole Blanchard, the 3rd book in their alien smut series, where basically there's these aliens that they're like on this dying planet. They can't get a lot of food. They don't know how to because a huge plague took out most of their colony. And then for some reason they're up in a spaceship. They find this like static ship where they find tubes of people in it. Coincidentally, they pull all women and back down to the planet they go, where pretty much each book is a couple hooking up. The 3rd one I was most excited to read because the alien in this book, he actually had the virus and he survived it. So it's kind of never left him the same. So I'm really excited to see like the tropes that are used for this one and how the characters interact and their tension, because it seems like he wants nothing to do with the women, but since it is a romance book, obviously something is gonna happen. I'm running out of places to like give updates because I feel like I don't want to do the entire vlog at my desk. It's about 5 something. Yeah, because it's dark out and I'm hungry, and I know I should just have my leftovers since I did have McDonald's breakfast this morning, but I kind of want to go out and get my favorite Mexican. So I finished Sacrifice, and I'm also gonna rate that a 5 out of 5 stars. It's a male, female vampire romance, and I really liked it. Like, I know it was like kind of short, it was like 160 pages or so, and when the 3rd guy didn't show up until like 60% of the book, I was like, when's he showing up? Like, what? There's still sex to be had, basically. It was kind of like True Blood in a way, but if possible even dirtier. I liked all of the guys too because they were all very distinctly different. I feel like a lot of people have maybe read this book. I think my favorite is Ryland, who's the 3rd guy that doesn't show up until the very end, because he was really intense. I dig it, and I would like to see where the relationship goes between those two, because she knows him the least, because I feel like she has a pretty good baseline relationship with the other two since they were in it more. Before I came out here, I read the first 2 chapters of The Mad Lieutenant, and I feel like I was like violently ripped into this world again because I haven't read the series since last year. So I'm like trying to remember all the names and where all the couples were again and what like was going on, since like even though it follows different couples from every book, there's a continuous plot line. And since I DNF'd the 2nd one, I feel like I'm a little at loss to like what the events were at the end of the 2nd book. I should probably do another spin and hope I get an audiobook, because I'm gonna want to listen to some stuff tonight and play some games. finished a live stream with Alexa because it was her birthday today. So now I'm gonna head back into reading. I have not completed a book yet. It's about 4 p.m. I have about 4 hours left on the initiation, and I'm about 60% through on the Mad Lieutenant. For the Mad Lieutenant, the setup, I'm trying to like put this all in perspective because it is a shorter book, so I didn't really get what I wanted out of the relationship before they started having sex. The setup was really great because she decided to like choose him to be her mate because I hate saying mate, but like for these otherworldly books, it doesn't bother me. So she chose him because he didn't want one, and technically neither does she. So I got really on board with that because in some alternate universe where I would have been in that situation, I wouldn't want to have a mate right away either. So they have this like idea that they're just going to act like mates in front of everybody else, and then behind the scenes they're just going to kind of be friends. And if the book was longer, that setup would have been so much better, because they say this and then 3 days later they're having sex. I wish it just went longer because I loved that setup, and then I didn't really get what I wanted out of it, unfortunately. But I am still enjoying the book because, again, I'm putting it all in perspective. I'm excited to read the rest of the series because now I'm kind of remembering all the characters and all the aliens, and now I'm excited to see like how everything shakes out. And then you saw in the clip that I did, so I kept it in anyway when I was doing the clip of the B-roll for what I had for lunch today, plus I'm listening to The Initiation by Nikki Sloan. As I was like filming and getting that shot, Riley texted our group chat saying like, how far are you in the initiation? Because it's super hot. And I was like, LOL, that's so funny. She kept texting me during the live show with Alexa saying like, you need to finish this book now. Because it's her favorite book I think that she's read so far this weekend. So now I'm really curious. I have about 4 hours left, so, and I have a lot of lives. So I've been stocking up all day. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm doing pretty good. Like, I'm like really impressed with the progress I've made so far. So I read the group book and then I read 2 books. Though are we really technically counting the group book when I kind of read it the day before Smutathon started? But you know what? Since I am one of the co-hosts, I'm saying it counts. So I've read 3 books so far for Smutathon. I'm genuinely liking all of them. Like, I've had some duds in the past with Smutathon where it's like, I didn't really like this book. I have been like in a huge reading slump for the past few months. I have not read. So this is like, this is nice. So you kind of caught me at a good night because I don't know if my mascara is running. I don't know. So I've been drinking, and this just shows I don't drink very often because I'm only on my 2nd drink and I am feeling loopy as hell. But I was just playing Among Us with House Salt. Unfortunately, I started drinking like on the last like half hour of the game. So I'm like, I can't go to sleep now because I'm also still drinking the rest of my drink. So I'm like, okay, I'll real quick finish the initiation because I only had an hour left. I feel like I can't even like say what the book's about because I went in relatively blind, and I kind of liked that, but I don't know, did I ever explain what this book's about? So it's basically, there's this thing called the initiation for this like super powerful banking company, and that there's like this mysterious rumor about the 9 board members going in with 1 woman, and stuff happens behind the scenes, and this time it's the main character. I really want to say something, but I don't know if that is spoiling it. But I was texting Riley a couple hours ago when we were talking about this, and I'm like, I get major Chuck Bass, Jack Bass, and Blair vibes from this book. There was always something like deeply sexy to me about like the Chuck, Jack, and Blair kind of storylines that I wish could have been explored more, but I understand why they weren't. But basically, if you are like me and you liked that whole storyline in Gossip Girl and felt like you wanted more of that, then you need to read The Initiation. Holy shit. I have my laptop here from when we were playing Among Us, and I know I have the TBR wheel still up. So let's just spin it because I do need a new audiobook to read. New to you, author. I just did that for The Initiation, so I'm gonna spin it again. Sky my daddy was looking out for me. I don't have the audiobook for it, but you know what? Fuck it. I really want to read Leticia Newton this readathon. So I'm reading Whispers in the Dark. I know Whispers in the Dark is a dark serial killer romance with like a lot of like psychological medical stuff in it, and I'm kind of in the mood for that. I don't know if it's just like I've been drinking, but I'm really in that like super dark fucked up mood right now. So I think I might just start that right now. Yeah, I'm just gonna go back to my room. I gotta take off my makeup and stuff, and I gotta finish this drink because I am not wasteful. Hey guys, so I just wanted to wrap up Smutathon. It is Monday the 21st, so it ended at midnight this morning. So last night I did end up finishing The Mad Lieutenant by Kay Webster and Nicole Blanchard, and I rated it a 3.5. I did talk about in one of these past clips kind of the one problem I was having with it, which I think like for the trope, the book wasn't long enough to really fulfill that trope for me, but I still liked it. I am 70% through Whispers in the Dark by Leticia Newton. This book, y'all, I don't even think I've like explained all of it. Have I even talked about this book? It's so twisted and so fucked up, but I'm really liking it. Like it's in the, like, I don't know, rating it like on a dark romance scale, it's probably gonna be a 5 stars for me. Depends how it's gonna end, because that's the one thing that I love about dark romance, is that it's a lot more unpredictable than, you know, the other like formulaic happily ever after romances, which I don't have a problem with. I love those ones too, but sometimes I just want to be surprised and I'm always surprised with dark romances. So I don't know how it's gonna end, and I don't know how everything's gonna shake out. I do plan to read a lot more of Leticia Newton. Her writing's really good and I really like her characters because, like, okay, so now that I feel like I've been reading it, I can give a better explanation than the vague synopsis that you get when you read the back cover. So it's basically this young woman was kidnapped when she was 18 by a guy who is a serial killer. The serial killer has a son who's around her age, and they kind of form a bond because he's also abused by his father. They both manage to save each other, and when they get out of that situation, they're forced to take their separate ways. And 8 years later, after the events of that, he finds her and he comes to discover that she's a serial killer, and she kills people who abuse minors and people. I feel like I can't say the exact words without being demonetized, but you guys probably know what I'm talking about. She's like a vigilante killer, serial killer. I do like my serial killers that just kill trash humans, but also he has the son. He also has like a lot of issues, because like the best way I can describe him is like he's like a demented, sick cinnamon roll. He has like these moments of brilliance when he's thinking or saying something to her where I'm like, yes, that's healthy and that's sweet, but then he tacks on this thing where I'm like, no, that's not how it works. So I'm really enjoying it, and I think if you are someone who likes dark romance and you find that your reading tastes are a lot like mine, you'll probably like this one too. If we're gonna rewind and talk about all the books that I read during Smutathon, I think this means I finished 5 and I was halfway through the 6th book, which is pretty good for a 3-day readathon. I started early, so. So the first one I read was Tangled Vows, which I rated a 3.5. I really like Anna Stone. I thought her writing was really good, so I plan to read more of her. And then I listened to Captive of the Horde King, which I have said is Dothraki in space, and I don't even know, have I said what I rated it, but I probably rated a 4. It's a new series that I plan to read. It introduced me to a new author that also writes a lot of alien smut, so I have found a new author to buy a lot more books from. Then after that one, I read Sacrifice by Katie Robert. I loved it. That was a 5-star book for me. I cannot wait for the rest of the series because it does kind of end on a sort of cliffhanger. Excited to see where the next books take us, because you got the world building and like the vampire lore was actually really well done for a book that's like significantly shorter than a lot of vampire books that I read. And then I read The Initiation by Nikki Sloan, which was a surprise love. Didn't really know what I was expecting when I was going into it or if I was gonna like it, but I ended up loving it. Also, I think this is like a 4.5 star read for me as well. I cannot wait to continue on with the series and look at a lot more of Nikki Sloan's backlist. The last two books were what I was just talking about, The Mad Lieutenant and Whispers in the Dark. So that is it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed Smutathon. I love the engagement that this readathon brings. It makes me feel like I'm so much more a part of the community. Thank you guys for joining the live show that Riley and I had yesterday. My tab on my computer screen was filled with books that you guys were recommending because I was like one-click buying a lot of them because I'm like, this looks good, click. I think that's all I'm gonna read for the rest of the year. Maybe I'll do another reading vlog where I just read a lot of romance because I like filming these and I like sharing the romance books that I've been reading. What was your favorite book that you read? If you guys participated, I would love to know. And I will see you guys all very soon. Bye.